Welcome to Lost on Ice, the show about the show 20 years later. Today, we're talking about Season 4, Episodes 1 and 2. I'm Will, also here is Ben, and you can watch full video episodes of the podcast on YouTube. Ben and I also release a bonus hangout show every week that can be found at patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. Here we are at the beginning of Season 4. I am very optimistic, Ben.
Nice. I am easily clouded by my own life experience while I'm watching these episodes, and I had a very bad week, so I was like pissed off watching the episodes.
And for context, last week was the week where you fell down the stairs and you liked those episodes.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
we're looking at a worse week than it was last week.
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm sorry about that. Have you tried falling down the stairs again to see if that
Yeah, I might have to. I think that's how the week got off to such a bad start was the stairs
yeah.
thing. But yeah.
That used to be a trope or something, right? Like you'd get like people would at the beginning of the episode, someone would get a rock dropped on their head and they lose their memory, and then but at the end of the episode, as they're figuring out who they are, they like fall and hit their head again, and they regain all of their memories, and things are set right again.
Yeah. Kind of Twin Peaks The Return style situation, you know? RIP to David Lynch.
Yeah, that was also not a good thing to happen this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's safe to announce we've decided a little bit ago, but we're gonna be watching Twin Peaks next on the podcast, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not prepared to do a full on tribute, I suppose, but yeah, that sucks. He was the greatest. It was
Yeah.
David Lynch.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry you had a bad week. And you did, but that bled over to the episodes. You weren't a big fan?
No, it's not that I wasn't a big fan, but I was like anxious and kind of agitated in a very extremely agitated mood when I was watching the episodes, which I guess isn't too far off from how the lost
Sure.
dudes are doing, you
Mm.
know. There's a little bit
Well,
of
I'll put my hand up as
agitation.
being partially responsible. I did kind of spring an accelerated recording schedule on you last minute, so thanks for being a little flexible. But I'm looking at how many episodes are in this season, and I'm feeling good. There's only 14 this season, down from 23 in season 3 and 24 and 25 before that. And 14 feels about right. Still more episodes than you'd get in like a modern prestige streaming show, but not too many to suggest a ton of filler. And the first couple of episodes of the season that we watched, 1 and 2, they feel confident, if that kind of makes sense. Like we're spinning up the plates as we always do in like the pilot of a series or a season, but there's enough of a rhythm and momentum and like confidence to make me feel like we're in for a good time. Like we get like it's not just like all questions. We get some sort of like setups and payoffs in kind of interesting ways. I really like all of the new characters that we meet, and I'm just stoked to see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah. I get what you mean about the confidence. Not a ton of like wasted time either.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
that's a good way of putting it. Well, let's jump into the first of the 2 episodes that we watched this week, Season 4, Episode 1, The Beginning of the End. Of course, a reference to Ben's threats or warnings, portents at the end of season 3. He tells Jack as he's tied to that tree, if you call those people and they come to the island, that will be the beginning of the end, or this is the beginning of the end, something like that. But this episode aired New Year's Eve 2008. Do you remember what you were doing New Year's Eve 2008 when you were about to see? Oh wait, I'm really stupid. This aired January 31st, 2008. It's not New Year's Eve at all.
February Eve.
February.
February
Thank you.
Eve.
I
Yeah, that seems like a rough day to do, like a new
yeah, that would be a
season
really
launch.
bad idea.
A lot of people are gonna have to check out and say like, I got plans, you know?
Yeah, they're calling it the least viewed episode of television of all time.
Yeah.
No, this was January 31st, 2008. This was directed by Jack Bender. It was written by the Big D himself, Damon Lindelof, and Carlton Cuse. And it's so it was this episode might have actually served as possibly kind of a bargaining chip for the 2007-2008 WGA writers' strike. From Wikipedia here, the showrunners wanted to hold the 8 episodes that had been completed until they were able to make more of this season. ABC decided against this and announced that the beginning of the end would be aired at the end of January 2008, regardless of when the strike was to end. And to me, that reads as ABC was saying like, all right, well, let's start putting out lost episodes and make the public, b- like if it delays the season, like break in the middle of the season, they'll like blame the writers, put more pressure on the writers. That's how I would kind of think that how it went. And I don't remember how
Interesting.
that resolved, but yeah, little tidbit there.
I would have thought it would be the opposite, you know? People banging on the doors of I don't really know, but, like, banging on the doors of
Show us the
ABC,
premiere.
like,
Show us what you
"Hi
have.
hire those writers back. We gotta see the rest of the stuff," you know? I wanna see episode 9, 10, 11,
You'd
12,
hope,
13,
yeah.
14. Yeah.
That would be a nicer way.
I am not
All
a
right, so
tactician, so no idea.
yeah, it's error number 1 to believe in the kind-heartedness of people. Generally, I think, especially television viewers,
Yes.
as a population. All right, let's talk about what actually happens in the episode. After being knifed in the back by John Locke in this 3rd season finale, Naomi uses her satellite phone to call George Minkowski on the freighter. Before she dies, she tells him that her injury was an accident and to give her love to her sister. This is where like Kate and Jack disagree about which way to go. Kate picks up on Naomi's trail. Jack picks up on Naomi's trail, but Jack picks up on a dummy trail. So Kate is there when Naomi dies. She like left the dummy trail of like blood heading into the forest, and then she like climbed up a tree and with her like last energy like jumped down on Kate at that
Yeah.
interaction. So while that's happening, we meet the protagonist of this episode, Hurley. It's kind of a Hurley-centric episode. He finds Jacob's cabin. He looks through the window and sees an unidentified man in a rocking chair. I identified that man. Looks to me that's Christian Shepherd. We got like a flash of him.
Mm, okay.
I don't know if that's necessarily Jacob. I don't know if Jacob equals Christian Shepherd, but that was Christian in the chair.
Mm.
And then someone steps up to the glass, only the left eye visible. Hurley runs away, but finds the cabin again in a different location. It's kind of like appearing different locations of the island. That I thought was a really cool touch. He squeezes his eyes shut, and when he opens them, the building is gone, and Locke appears. Desmond Hume returns from the looking glass, bearing Charlie's final message that the freighter offshore is not owned by Penny Widborn. There was kind of this, definitely the most happy everybody's been so far, like at this prospect of being rescued. And yeah, Desmond returns with some rain for your parade.
Yeah. A lot of people like not wanting to break bad news in these episodes. Or,
Yeah.
it's a recurring theme, I suppose. Don't want to either, but I gotta say, my personality is probably lead with that kind of stuff because you got to do it eventually, right?
Yeah.
Or
And
maybe you
I
couldn't.
think,
Maybe you could just be like, and then Charlie swam ashore to the other shore.
yeah,
Charlie swam home,
he made
guys.
it to Hawaii.
He
Yeah.
said he'll meet us there.
Yeah, you go on ahead. Uh, yeah, I can see it's kind of like a human response to, like, this idea that, rescue is imminent and it's happening, and Desmond has this sort of, like, bad twist on it. They're like, "Oh, it's actually not Penny's boat. This could be a threat." Like, I can picture being a survivor and just, like, not wanting to hear that and, like, choosing to believe that, "No, we're getting rescued." Like, I don't care what you say. That's not true. It's gonna be
Mm,
okay.
yeah, 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 that's true.
I'm not saying that's rational, but, like, just really want something to happen. The survivors reunite at 8:15's cockpit, where we saw the pilot get yeeted by
Folks,
something.
something important might happen to us. So let's all be, let's all kind of group up in front of in front of the plane. This will be a really good photo op if everybody shows up. Like we found them right next to the plane.
And Jack knocks Locke to the ground. He takes his gun and pulls the trigger. Jack goes loco, dude. I couldn't believe that. Like, he actually, like, fires the gun, but the gun's not loaded because Locke had no intention of killing Jack earlier. But Jack was ready to blow Locke away in that moment. And I think that was kind of a something that stood out to me as, like, okay, so now they get into this sort of like all right, who are you gonna go with? Are you gonna go with Jack and continue on with this rescue thing, or are you gonna go with Locke and hunker down in the barracks and stay on the island, potentially, like, because these people might be a threat. And
Yeah.
Jack pulling the trigger on Locke was kind of like, I want to get into, like, who you're gonna go with. Who would you go with if you were a survivor? Would you pick Jack or would you pick Locke in this moment? And I think that if I was standing there, I think it would, like, at this point, I love Locke. Like, Locke is my guy. He's my character. But, like, if I was just like another guy on the island and I was, like, kind of seeing what he's doing, like, he's kind of crazy, and especially lately, he's I mean, the last time we saw him, he, like, just killed somebody, kind of randomly out of nowhere, and, threatened Jack with a gun and stuff. And so, like, I probably would be, like, predisposed to stick with Jack, as he's kind of been, like, the leader lately and whatever. He's a doctor. I don't know. He also, maybe he's got, like, extra information that he's holding back, and so I'll, like, mate, talk with the X factor. But the fact that he pulled the trigger at Locke, I think, would maybe make me in that moment uh reconsider that and switch sides going with Locke.
Mm. A counterpoint
Yeah.
because you don't have my alpha guy mindset. I would be casting my
Excuse me.
hat. I'd be casting my hat into the ring at this point. Like, folks,
I'll take some of you.
I've been saying it a long time. We got two crazy guys. How about you
Yeah.
third party it up with old Ben?
I wonder, is Sawyer going to emerge as that? We're seeing a lot of where I am really enjoying Sawyer in these episodes. Like, his, like, morose, like, serious Sawyer. Like, I think we're getting it's what? What'd you say?
He says Kate. He says Kate all the time now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And he's calling Hurley Hugo. Yeah. He's kind of like a bit of a broken Sawyer, punished Sawyer a little bit, but,
Mm.
like, Josh Holloway just has that sort of, like, he's got that those eyebrows that he does. He, like, furrows. He kind of looks on. Um, I don't know, but, like, maybe this is his moment to sort of step in and be like, I don't know what the hell Locke is doing, and, like, I don't think Jack is right about this. Uh, if you guys, yeah, if you want a third option, we're gonna, like, hunker down and, like, do things like the old fashioned way with me over here. Like, that could have been a direction as well. But he's like, no, I
Yeah.
gotta survive.
Yeah. Very. But I did find the pairing off of people very strange, or
Like, team
people
captains.
choosing. Really
Yeah.
does seem like a good situation for a character like me to step up, to
A
step into the
nasty,
fold.
power hungry little little worm like yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Locke tells the castaways that they are in great danger and leaves the barracks with the following squad. He's got Team Sawyer has Hurley. Sorry, Team Locke has Hurley, Sawyer, Claire, plus Aaron, Danielle, and Ben. Ben says like, with your permission, Jack, I will go with Locke, or I'll go with it. It was kind of a funny moment. Uh, Alex, Carl, Vincent the dog, and four unnamed randos are going uh,
Jack has
with
lost
Locke
the dog contingency.
for a time. Yes, for a little bit. Is this the point where we see there's a no? Okay, well, maybe there's a really funny like extra moment in one of the in late I think later in this episode that I hope I remember to bring up. But yeah, so that's that team, and so I guess whatever, Wikipedia doesn't list who's with Jack, but the rest of them, like Kate, uh chiefly among them, is sticks with Jack. Oh, and Saeed, and no, wait. Cuz like okay, Juliet.
Rose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There was that conversation between Rose and Bernard. Bernard, listen, I like Rose and Bernard. They're a good couple. Where Bernard says to Rose like, "You said that you were staying on this island, so if you uh want to go with Locke, like I'll be right there behind you. I'll be right with you." I thought it was a sweet moment, and Rose is like, "I'm not doing anything with that man. I'm not going anywhere with that man." Referring to Locke. So yeah, they're gonna head back to the beach. Yeah, I think like Juliet and Saeed both go to the beach as well, right? Juliet goes to get captured because like Saeed and Juliet have the conversation like Saeed's like, why would Ben say that Naomi was like an enemy and like this was the beginning of the end? And Juliet's like, because Ben's a liar. Or he's right, which I thought that was a good moment actually.
Yeah.
Like because Ben lies or he tells the truth, man. Like it's tough to tell with that guy. Okay, so soon after Jack and Kate see a helicopter and meet Daniel. And we'll in the next episode we'll get to know him a little bit more. Flash forwards show that Hurley is famous as one of the Oceanic Six after his escape from the island and is keeping quiet about his time there. Hurley encounter. So I guess yeah, we learn that. I mean, in the future, 6 of the Oceanic survivors made it back, or
That seems to be the implication.
that seems to be the implication. And so we like Jack, Kate, Hurley. We've seen. Who else made it back? You can't really weigh in on this, and I don't know why I can't either. But it makes me wonder. Like, because you just know, and there's nothing to go off of who would be the remaining 3.
Well, you could guess.
I'm going to guess. Well, we saw okay. Whoever died, right? Like that might have been one of the 6. Like in the other flash forward where no one shows up to their funeral. I'm gonna say Ben is one of the Oceanic 6. He wasn't on the plane, but he might have, talked his way into it or something. I don't know why, but I just because nobody showed up at the funeral. That's why I would think that. Then 2 more. Sawyer, because and the reason for that is that I think that Jack trying to convince Sawyer to go back to the island would be an interesting thing that the writers would like to dig into. And I think Juliet dies before she makes it off the island for some reason. I don't know.
Have
So
you
she's not there.
considered
So
that maybe the Oceanic
maybe
6 only
Vincent.
applies to the flight people, but other people could have been found, you know? Maybe you don't have to waste a
But they
spot
need a
for
but
Ben and Juliet.
Ben needs the cover story to count as to reintegrate into society or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to think about it too hard. I'll say
Sure. You'd probably
say
watch some more episodes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll probably just watch more of the show.
If anybody has any questions up till this point on our podcast, I would encourage you keep them to yourself and just keep watching the show.
I'm just tearing my hair out, dude. Like, what is going on? What's gonna happen next? I'm just gonna sit here and puzzle through it instead of just watching the next episode. Okay, so Hurley encounters an apparition of Charlie wearing sunglasses, really in a really cool style way.
Or is it an apparition? Is that what you call a guy who can slap you in the face?
But also disappear.
But also disappear? Is that the
Yeah,
right
he encounters
phrase?
Charlie. Charlie does say, he's dead and here.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of key to it. My big theory about where Lost is going. I'm just again, this is all I've seen so far. Is I think that that's
Zombie
just
show.
true. Well, yeah, it's there's not a logical explanation for it. It's kind of it's kind of Lynchian in that way or something. I don't know. That's probably the wrong way. But
okay,
it's not a big. It's not hard sci-fi. I think it's
okay,
spiritual sci-fi.
I was being more pedantic about we need a monster expert on the show, right? I refuse to call a goblin a ghoul or a ghoul a zombie.
What is a ghoul
or
to
something
a goblin?
Yeah. Couldn't say. That's why I will be keeping my mouth shut and listening to monster experts. Don't know if
I'll just be keeping my mouth shut and listening to Monster.
Sure. Sure.
So yeah, Hurley encounters Charlie. We learned in this convenience store, and he freaks out. He speeds away in his Camaro, and it turns into a Burnout Paradise cutscene or something, or a GTA cutscene. I think the VFX are getting better. I don't want to knock on it. It's just VFX are so, in the moment, I'm sure it looked great. And now, stuff I'm watching now, I'm sure it looks great to me. VFX get dated so quickly though. And we see a couple of those things. But yeah. He speeds away in his Camaro, is apprehended by Los Angeles police. Hurley is interrogated by Ana Lucia Cortez's former partner, Detective Big Mike Walton. And Hurley lies he has no knowledge of Ana Lucia. Her partner, Big Mike, says something so crazy. He's like, "Did you know Ana Lucia?" Hurley's like, "No." He's like, "She was gorgeous." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Hurley, looking at the interrogation room's mirror glass, imagines seeing Charlie swimming in water until he breaks the glass and floods the room. I don't know if he imagines that or not, but yeah. He willingly returns to the Santa Rosa Mental Health Institution, where he is visited by Lance Reddick.
A new
claims to be an attorney for Oceanic Airlines.
A new contender for the most famous person in the show. Yes.
I think it's got to be. I think he's got to be the most famous at this point. Yeah, I mean, not by a long stretch, but he's one of the more famous.
So. Is he more famous than? Do we still think it's Dominic Monaghan?
Dominic doesn't count. Or Monaghan doesn't count. Because he's a main cast character.
I think he might be more famous than Dominic Monaghan, to be honest. But
no, I don't think so.
Really?
I still think Dominic Monaghan is the most famous. And also,
I don't know.
Cheech Marin is also super famous.
I don't know. I think a lot more people know Lance Reddick's names. I think more people know the name Cheech. I think more people know the
Yeah.
name Lance Reddick, which is a full name, than they know Cheech Marin or Dominic Monaghan.
People
B-
probably don't know Dominic
but
Monaghan's
maybe
name.
more people
Yeah.
have
As
seen Dominic Monaghan in things.
yeah.
And Cheech Marin, they've probably seen
Like
him in
yeah.
fewer things than the other two guys.
I think you're right. I think I unfortunately reluctantly agree with you on that
Mm.
count. So I guess what does it mean to be famous? Like people will recognize Dominic Monaghan's face probably the most, but if you could like just by your name plus face, might be Lance Reddick because Dominic Monaghan has face, Cheech Marin has name, Lance Reddick has name and face, and I don't know where Bill Duke fits into it, but probably
Yeah.
more face than
We need we just need somebody to come and break the tie.
we'll see.
Fortunately, you know, little spoiler, Donald Trump shows up in the next episode and is on the
Is
show
that
for the,
real?
the rest of no.
He's the main.
He's the main character for the rest of the thing. No.
Okay, so this Wikipedia
If
article,
that happens if that happens in the final episode, sorry once again.
you haven't
If I
seen that, yeah.
I haven't seen it.
That'd be such a
That'd
funny
be so
twist.
funny.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so the Wikipedia summary does name Lance Reddick's character, but I don't think we get his name in the episode. So I'm gonna hold back on saying it. And when Lance Reddick fails to supply a business card, he asks if they're still alive before stealthily exiting. Really keeps his wits about him. He's like, "Can I get a business card on that?" And he's like, "Fail." You know, like uh his cover immediately falls. He's like, "Nurse, get him out of here."
A very easy for, crafty guy like Lance Reddick's character is sort of supposed to be.
Just
Very
have
easy
a
one to
fake
fake.
ID.
And he's just
Yeah,
like, he doesn't ask for an ID. He's like,
just
I'm
like
gonna need to see a business card. Like,
yeah.
that's a very, Richard Jewell style request, you know? You just hand him a piece of paper with your name on it, and it's like, I've been foiled.
I mean, it does sort of make me think. I've been watching. I watched. I I kind of like watching like Netflix slop while I walk on the treadmill in the mornings, and I just watched The Madness. I finished The Madness, and part of it has like the trope that is from a lot of stuff, but like somebody show like an FBI agent like flashes their badge or shows their badge, and it turns out they're not actually an FBI agent. Um, it makes me kind of think that like should I like look into like being
Badges.
able to identify a counterfeit FBI badge or something? Like I don't think that like when people say like, "Can I see your badge again?" And then like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And then maybe like, I guess it's real." Like, what are you looking for? I don't know what. And to that matter, like, what does a warrant look like? I don't know what a warrant is. If someone just like comes into my house like, "Yeah, we're gonna get into your shit. We've got a warrant." And they hand me a piece of paper. I'll probably be like, "Yeah, sure, man." Like, like
Yeah, it's
what are these
true.
official? I can't like independently verify that means you DFBI or whatever.
It's like I've thought about that before watching like Infernal Affairs or like the Departed, both of them. They're doing both of them, obviously. But
Yeah.
like the thing where I think in like The Departed, it's Matt Damon, and in Infernal Affairs, it's Andy Lau. Like they walk into the room to pretend to be the guy's lawyer, which also has like other layers to it of deceit in that specific example. But my point is, I'd be easily tricked. I'd be like,
No
"Are you my
kidding. I'd be
lawyer?"
so
And they'd be
yeah.
like, "What do you think?" And I'd say, "Okay, yeah, I did it." Or whatever I'm
Yeah.
supposed to tell the lawyer.
Yeah. I had a funny moment with like like a furnace technician, like an HVAC guy who was here recently like uh Like, okay, this like this experience happened, like this almost exact experience happened, like the like a city inspector came to the house to like inspect the HVAC work, and he just kind of like walked in the house and like he knocked briefly, just came in, and he kind of like wordlessly handed me a business card, and it just kind of said uh like, you know, that my city, the name of our city, and it's a, you know, building inspector. And then he just kind of like, you know, walked straight to the basement and without really like explaining himself. And then like I kind of was standing there like, and then like one of the HVAC techs was like kind of walking by, and I said like, should I like follow him? And the other guy was like, I just started here, I don't know. So we were both kind of like out of the loop on this, and so I kind of like went down and hovered and heard them talk about the duct, and then I like snuck off again. Like, it's my house. I should be the one making the calls, I guess. But I felt like, hey, am I interrupting? You guys mind? Like, shut up, nerd. Like, this'll be $4,000. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I think you got tricked. I think you
What's
got
the
hacked.
ruse though? It's like he just like inspected, is like, I guess he's there to certify bad HVAC jobs.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have
I didn't
some
pay him anything.
secrets in the
You don't
basement?
pay the inspector. I
But he
think
might
he
have
was legit.
taken something from you, you know? But yes, I am now. I really am because I said it before. You got Richard Jewelled big time. That guy John hammed you
He
to
railroaded
your
me. Yeah.
Richard Jewell. You're down there like, you know, I'm into
Oh,
HVAC systems too.
yeah.
I'm
It's
like you
funny.
guys. I'm just
There
like you.
there were all like, some of this is like makes sense, that like, I don't know, if you're a big guy, you probably get into like, it's easier to do physical work. But these guys were like all 6'6" minimum, and like just like all giants uh down there too. And so I felt like really like, hey guys, if you don't mind, is it okay if I pay you extra? Is that fine? If you're not tipping your HVAC tech, I don't want you listening to this podcast, okay? No, they did a great job. They were actually super nice. City inspector, not so much.
You got Richard Jewell, dude. That's what his I can't think of
Thank you.
who's his lawyer in that movie? Who's the actor?
Is this Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell. I'm Sam Rockwell in this situation telling you, dude, you gotta stop sucking up to those guys. They're making fun of you. Do
Great
not tip
work,
them.
great work.
Do not say that they did good work.
They actually did though.
Don't say that, Richard.
At a reasonable price. Too. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. You know, I studied to become an HVAC tech for a little bit. They never let me into the academy, but you know. Finally, Hurley is visited by Jack, who is thinking of growing a beard. I guess that was like, Lost can't help itself, dude. Like, they just like have to like, bet you were wondering if he ever talks about thinking of growing a beard, because we see him with a beard at some point. Well, he does.
I like I like in this episode, and I think it's maybe it's the next one or maybe it's this one too, but it doesn't really matter. In the flashbacks where like, okay, you see like, you know, you see a car chase or you see a car chase and then you see like pretty big hand come out of the window once, you know, the car has crashed or whatever. But
Yeah.
they kind of like keep it going for a while, like who could
Who
it
is
be?
it?
Who could it be? And then same thing
Whose
with
bitchin'
Jack.
Camaro is that?
Same thing with Jack, where it's like, you know, a pretty like a nice-ish, like upper middle class like kitchen, and then somebody's pouring like Tropicana orange juice, and then you see the big bottle of like vodka come out, or like
Hmm.
I don't know if it was vodka or gin or whatever
It
come
was.
out, pour it in. It's like who could it
Who
be?
could it be? Also, yeah. So, uh, what doesn't what does Jack say? He's watching the car chase on TV, he's like drinking his screwdriver, and he goes like, "God damn it!" Like he knows that it's Hurley
Yeah. Yeah.
because somehow,
So wait, it
the-
was it was it was vodka?
yeah,
Okay.
it's a screwdriver.
Last Christmas, my dad and I argued about this because, uh, they made some, I guess, screwdrivers, for, like, maybe breakfast or Christmas brunch or something like that, and asked me if I wanted one, and I was like, "I'll have it with gin instead," and he's like, "That's disgusting," and I was like, "This is a common thing, gin and gin and juice," as they say. Uh,
Okay, but then but that's not a screwdriver then.
no, it's not a screwdriver,
Okay,
but
yeah, it's just
I'm
something
just
else.
I just want to
Yeah,
assert, listeners
sure.
too, if you're not familiar, don't judge people who do the gin and orange juice instead. It's
Maybe I should try
also
that.
good. It's better
To
actually.
me,
It's better.
yeah, I really dislike screwdrivers. This is nasty to me.
It seems
Uh,
like kind of a young person, like you're just trying to get
yeah,
drunk, but
baby's
you don't like
first.
you don't
Yeah,
like the taste of the alcohol, but
yeah.
like gin and
I don't really
orange
like
juice like
gin either, though.
it has a distinct taste. You're not drinking orange juice.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I used to like orange juice more than I do now. I'm kind of off juice. Guy who
A lot
turned
of
5 years
sugar.
old. I've been off juice.
It's a lot of sugar. I'd be
Yeah,
craving juice if
I
I was
can't
just getting off the
handle.
Lost Island, though.
Dude,
I
a
think.
juice would hit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, a simply orange. Come on. I mean, you get the mango. You get they've been feasting on mango, so maybe they wouldn't be too like. Uh,
That's true. It's an
it'd probably be.
orange.
Yeah,
Eat a
probably
lot
be
of
just like
oranges.
more like processed, like like a Twinkie would hit really hard, like a bowl of cereal. Can you imagine that? Like a bowl of cinnamon toast crunch. I bet that would hit. I'm just hungry for cinnamon toast crunch myself. Like what would be
Sure.
really good is that. Okay.
We should definitely do an episode at the end of the series of all of that kind of extremely dumbass stuff of what would be your first meal when you got off the island, when you got off Lost Island? What would you eat first? What would you do first?
Well, we'll also do it along the way. That's the extremely dumb podcast promise. Jack confirms that Hurley will not reveal the Oceanic Six's secrets. They play like horse, um, in the at mental hospital, and Hurley can hoop. Is
You
what we
can.
kind of learn here.
Yeah.
That's kind of a cool character thing about Hurley is that like, actually the fat guy is like good at all sports. Like he is like very good at the ping pong. Actually, did we see him? Maybe he's not good at golf, but he was good. He's good at basketball and he's good at ping pong.
Sure.
Yeah. So, Jack confirms that Hurley will not reveal the Oceanic Six's secrets. Presumably that there are more of them alive, but it sounds like there's maybe more than just that going on. I'm not sure. Hurley apologizes for going with Locke and insists that they return to the island, but Jack refuses, which shows that these flash forwards occur before Jack's flash forwards. It's a bit of a flash forward, flashback in a way. So yeah, okay. There's some kind of okay. So in the showdown between like who's gonna go with Jack and who's gonna go with Locke, Kate is explaining is like why would you go with Locke? He killed Naomi, and she's standing right next to or there's an extra standing next to her. You know, it's like it's the pilot. Maybe they got a bigger budget for this season, so they're gonna have more extras involved this time. But whoever was standing next to Kate in that shot made such a big deal. He made a huge show out of being exasperated. He's like, like wow. Kate's just trying to mirror what Kate's doing. I love watching for extras who are trying to get the call up. That's so good.
Yeah.
Which I would do that. I know I would be there in the back of the scene being like, just
I
really,
feel
really
like
overacting.
not knowing about any of this stuff, I feel like that's easier to do if you're doing like action stuff. Like that's how like Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, those kind of guys kind of got their start, like get beat up in the background of Bruce Lee movies and stuff like that. So maybe a little tip for lost background characters: start doing some kung fu in the background.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, I noticed that guy, and I would like him in
Yeah.
my
He like just like
next
sneaks
movie.
like a quick punch, like just, just try to get it by. All right, I'm gonna give this episode a 4 out of 5. Jack looks good in dress clothes.
Yeah, it's a 4. It's good.
It's good. This episode of Lost on Ice, the show about the show, is brought to you by Ben and I. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you like the show, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel or heading on over to patreon.com/Dr. Skeleton. We're coming up on our 400th mainline episode very soon in a couple of weeks. We're gonna
Ooh,
hit the big 400, so stay tuned for that.
nice. Can I before we pass it too much, one more thought on
Yes.
aspiring background characters out there.
Yeah.
You know, real tip. I gotta say this quietly now because it's a real tip. You should do something in a show like Lost that's a little suspicious that viewers might catch on to, but the director might
Hmm.
not have noticed when they shot it. Like a guy in the background should take like a little piece of paper and kind of like tuck it into Kate's shirt pocket or something like that, so that then viewers start
Who's
talking
the
about
guy
it.
going for Evangeline Lilly's chest? Can we
And
get
they're like,
someone to wrangle him? Ben's there. No, I'm trying to get higher.
I'm trying to get high. Because then the viewers will demand to know, you know, what's going
This
on
is what you
there.
would do if you were on Lost. I'd be flashing like 2, 3, 1, 0, 1. Like I'd be just kind of like subtly down by my side, like I'd be doing like fake sign language or something, like signaling
You're doing
codes.
like catcher signs, like baseball catcher signs.
Fastball up inside. I'm doing the like when the people fake being an interpreter for
Yes.
politicians on TV and stuff. Yeah, that's what I'd be doing in the background, and then everyone's like, "Oh, what does he mean? He he wanted a slider. What's that? What's that about?" All right, season 4, episode 2, Confirmed Dead. This aired February 7th, 2008. It was directed by Stephen Williams, and it was written by Drew Goddard and Brian K. Vaughan. All right. So there was, in researching this episode, I found that there was apparently like a $3 million ARG, another alternate reality game, for this designed to promote this season called Find 815. And I was kind of like, oh man, here we go again. But then it was apparently produced totally separately from anyone writing on the show, and it contradicts events that happened in the series. So I didn't look into it anymore. There's no real info to be gleaned. Totally non-canon, apparently. Big
Interesting. Seems like a
sigh of
big
relief.
mistake.
Yeah, waste of time and money. Like, wouldn't you
Let's
want?
hire let's hire a bunch of interns for this like very closely watched by mega fans TV
Yeah,
show. You guys are gonna write an ARG, and we are not gonna supervise you at all.
I know. So
Have at it.
crazy. What is that about? I mean, like, maybe I should look into this more and see, like, what was the thinking there? Who I, I that would be very annoying. If you were really into it, and then like, oh yeah, no, that was like we just dumped a bunch of trash out our window that you guys went and picked up for us. Like that's all that was. It's very rude. All right. This episode's 5 flashbacks focus on the reactions and activities of the freighter's crew who made contact with the Oceanic 815 survivors. These are Daniel Faraday, played by Jeremy Davis, Miles Strom, played by Ken Lung,
Pew, pew,
and
pew.
Charlotte Lewis, played by Rebecca Mader, and Frank Lapidus, played by Jeff
Lapidus.
Fahey. Lapidus. Funny about, I guess we'll get to that. But is it Lapidus? Is that how you say it?
I think that's how they said it in the show, Lapidus.
Okay.
What's the Miles guy character's name?
Miles Strum.
No, but what's the
Maelstrom.
what's the actor's name?
Oh, Ken Lung.
Ken Lung. Love seeing Ken Lung in a movie. Or a movie or a TV show. He's always kind of the
He was in
same guy.
Sopranos, I believe. They wrote this part for him, specifically for him because of his work on The Sopranos, apparently.
Oh, he was in Saw. He was
A lot of
uh
Saw connects.
Danny Glover's
Danny Glover's in Saw?
Danny Glover's, what do you call the cops? Partner, cop
Huh.
partner. He's always kind of Ken Lung's always kind of same
Sub
ish
cop.
guy, like I don't know how you describe it. Little kind of like agitated,
Yeah.
little hyperactive, but pretty like smart dude, but kind of difficult to get along with.
It sounds
Yeah,
like you've been having a little bit of a Ken Lung week.
Ken Lung weak. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, 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 I guess I'll save the Lapidus factoid for when we get there. But I'll tip my hand here. I like all of these guys. All of these characters are working for me right off the bat. Daniel Faraday is my favorite though. Dan. Um,
Mm,
and okay, so like a Faraday is like Faraday like cage or something, right?
Cage.
That's like to block a signal. Right. That's what
Yeah,
you would use for that. Okay.
yeah.
Um, Dan Faraday is shown crying while watching a newscast confirming the deaths of all Oceanic 815 passengers. His caretaker asks why he's crying. He answers that he does not know. His caretaker? Interesting. I thought it was like his wife or something.
Mm, mm.
I guess a little bit of a reveal there, maybe. I don't know.
Little bit of a reveal, possibly.
But he's like a physicist, right? That's what we learn.
Yes.
Okay.
Another reveal. Reveal
Yeah.
number 1, he has a caretaker. Reveal number 2, he's a physicist. Those combine to tell you with 110% certainty, this guy's a loser.
I like him a lot.
No,
He
I like
he's
him a lot too, but he's also still a loser.
very rude. Miles Strum, King Lung's character, is a medium hired by an elderly woman to remove the ghost of her grandson from her home. After conversing with the spirit, Miles finds a hidden cache of money and drugs. Apparently, the name Miles Strum was simply chosen because the writer producers thought it would be cool if his name sounded like Maelstrom. That's the reason that they came up with.
Interesting. It's there's no anagram. I thought of an anagram for it. Smiles,
What?
tongue.
Does that work? That doesn't work. Okay.
It is. What the last name is Strung, right?
Strum. There's
Strung.
no G. Yeah.
Okay, but it's not tongue, but I just could have used, but smiles. Smiles, strum.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Okay, next character. Charlotte Lewis is an anthropologist who finds a polar bear skeleton bearing a Dharma Initiative collar buried in the Tunisian desert. That was fun to me. I mean, I love the Dharma Initiative stuff. So like,
You're about to say you love the Tunisian desert. Me too. Big fan.
that's right. Big fan of the Tunisian desert. And for a little bit, she also this might just be like my inability to tell white women apart, but for a little bit I was like, I guess we're seeing Penny for a little bit, and then eventually I was like, wait, okay, that's not Penny, but she has the similar accent, and she's a blonde
Okay,
white woman.
sure. I think you're trying to. I think you're trying to. You're trying to prove something to our listeners. You're like, I can't tell white women
I'm such
apart.
an ally.
Wow. Cool.
Frank Lapidus is an alcoholic who was originally scheduled to pilot Flight 815.
He's a pilot who's an alcoholic. Let's be people first.
Person first.
Here. Person first. At least job.
I mean,
first. He's an alcoholic.
He's a person of alcohol.
He's an
who is
alcoholic.
and person of airplane who was gonna.
He's an alcoholic who's go back to Wikipedia man's phrasing. He's an alcoholic who's a pilot on the side. It sounds like, yeah.
Yeah. He's a drinker with a flying problem. He phones the Oceanic hotline while watching the newscast and claims that the footage of the plane wreckage being aired on television is not authentic
He's a
because
debunker. He's a
he's
big time,
debunking, dude.
real time debunker. Yeah,
Yeah, he got debunked
but
by the Alco.
he has got an awesome vibe going on though. You know,
He looks like Mel Gibson does now, which is to say evil, uh, but
but
extremely sick
chill.
vibe. Very
Yeah,
chill. Like if Mel Gibson didn't look as evil, as he does now, but he kind of has modern Mel Gibson vibes. Great beard. Yeah, two
yeah.
excellent vibes.
Being like a
Apparently,
Oh, I was
what?
just being like a retired guy, like living in Hawaii, like kind of wearing the vibe of that too, you know, like having like
Yeah.
a Tommy Bahama shirt on, that kind of
Hmm.
style thing, but still being a guy that's up to no good, kind of like causing trouble, kind of still being pissed off, even though you should be retired. Probably having a wife in the background who's like, "Oh, we've been retired for 18 months, and you said you were gonna calm down and stop getting into bar fights every night, you know? This
Dude, this
is
is
supposed to be
he's the
nice. We live
most
in
like
Hawaii."
yeah,
That's
he's the
awesome.
most like Elmore Leonard character that I've seen in a while. Like
Sure.
this breed of person um doesn't exist anymore. Or maybe does, but it's like awesome. Like now they're all like the internet like ruined these people. They all kind of had like cool independent like conspiracy theories. Like this is Robert Downey Jr. in Zodiac kind of thing. Like lives on the houseboat vibe. You know,
Sure.
gets fucked up all the time, but like has uh you know, a bunch of theories that they get into like antisocial in a cool way rather than in a very scary way.
Yeah.
But apparently behind the name of this character, co-executive producer slash writer Edward Kitsis had been pitching the name Lapidus for years, finally naming an unseen character in the 14th episode of the third season, Rick Lapidus, and then wasn't seen, so he was not satisfied, and therefore he developed the character Frank Lapidus, helicopter pilot. Dude just like really wanted to name somebody Lapidus, bulldogging it, and I when you Google it,
Nice.
the Lapidus procedure is a surgical procedure used to treat a bunion deformity, also known as hallux valgus. It involves fusing the joint between the first metatarsal bone and one of the small bones in your midfoot called the medial cuneiform. Kitsis has like bunion like fixation or something. I'm not sure. He's like, I gotta name somebody Lapidus. It just kind of sounds like penis, and it's about feet. Like, is
Yeah.
that his thing? Uh, So we also get some posthumous flashbacks of Naomi Dorrit criticizing her employer, Lance Reddick, for his choice in her coworkers. After Daniel parachutes from a failing helicopter onto the island, he uses Naomi's phone to contact George Minkowski on the ship that he came from, like with Jack and Kate. The next morning, on December 22nd, 2004, hard date call out right there. I guess remember that. Two of the Flight at 15 survivors, Jack and Kate, help Daniel find his colleagues as the rival group led by Locke attempts to do the same. First of all, I don't know if I'm going to call them rival groups. They're not rivals. They're just like they've got they have different goals, and they're also not trying to find the other colleagues. Like,
Sure. Yeah, okay, I get it. They're
right?
a little rivalrous, but I get your
They
point. Yeah.
disagreed about something, but
Pretty big
they
somethings. Pretty big ones.
But they have different. I feel like to be a rival, you have to have like the same goals, and like you're like, and you gotta like, there must be like it must be like a zero sum situation where like like in order for me to accomplish my goal means that you will not accomplish your goal. Whereas these seem to be like,
Mm, I don't know about that.
yeah,
No.
well,
USA, China. Rivals? Kind of. You know? I don't think
I'm
that's a
not prepared to have.
zero sum game.
Uh,
Locke, Jack, rivals, kind of. Zero sum game? I don't think so.
no, I don't think they're.
Whatever. Okay.
But sometimes they can be they can be occasional rivals when it's like who should have the guns, and then it's like okay, there's this like fixed resource that is being allocated, and then they'll look over that. But I don't know,
Sure.
maybe you're right.
We're just disagreeing about the definition of the word rival, I guess, at this
Yeah,
point. So,
we're picking nits over here.
yeah.
Jack and Kate find Miles, who demands to see Naomi's body and reasons that Naomi was killed by Kate, as Naomi said a code on the phone before dying, which was the like, tell my sister I love her, which is the code to know that I got a gun or she got a gun to her head. Kate confesses that Naomi was killed. What?
This is a very specific code. If I have a gun to my head, I'm going to say, tell my sister to love me. Or that I loved her. Whatever.
Tell my sister to love me. Yeah, Kate says that Naomi was killed by John Locke. Locke's group finds Charlotte, takes her prisoner, and disposes of her tracking device, specifically by giving it to the old V Dog and letting him loose in the jungle, knowing that the other group was gonna track him down and get him. Vincent just happy to be there. Good
Yeah.
boy,
Hanging out.
hanging out. It's good to see that he's still around, thriving, wagging harder than any dog has ever wagged anytime he's on. Very lab vibes the whole time. Very good.
Yeah.
Daniel's third colleague, helicopter pilot Frank, fires a flare into the sky, but not before seeing a cow. Great cow performance in this episode, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Cow gives a big moo and then like turns around at the right moment. Good job. Jack's group follows the flare and gets to him. Frank tells Jack's group that he managed to land the helicopter intact. After finding out that Juliet Burke is one of the others, Miles demands to know where Ben is, as locating him is the freighter crew's primary objective. I think Daniel says, we're rescuing you guys isn't necessarily our first priority. In Locke's group, several people become discontent with Locke's revelation that he is following the instructions of Walt Lloyd, who had left the island a month earlier. They also question why Ben is being kept alive. Locke holds Ben at gunpoint, and Ben starts to reveal information about the Kahana crew, specifically Charlotte's identity, and that he is a spy aboard the ship. What about I don't know what. I guess the Kahana crew. That's a new word. That's a Wikipedia reveal. We also missed the part where Ben shoots Charlotte. He like bang bang bang, but then turns out she had like the bulletproof vest on. In a less confident season, that would have been like the end of an episode, and then we find out later like okay, she actually had the bulletproof vest on. But we get like the payoff right away there. Yeah. What Jack makes a deal with Miles about the phone. It's so funny. Maybe, but Donald Trump is about to show up because he is absolutely killing the art of the deal on this. What is it? Jack is like, you need to tell me what you're doing here if you want to use this phone. And Miles is like, let me use the phone and I'll tell you what we're doing here. Jack's like, okay, here it is. Just give him the leverage. Here you go.
Yeah.
Jack, you dumbass. 4 out of 5. I'm into this one quite a bit.
Yeah, same. It's good. It's a good episode.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Any other straight? I guess Seth Norris was the pilot who was supposed to be on there.
Talking. Yeah. The pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, these are others. Stray things. So we saw the bedroom. When Miles's flashback, like we see like him being the medium when he's going to that elderly woman, and he's like, "I can communicate with your son, whatever." the bedroom that a kid's bedroom. There's a battle royale poster on the wall, which is an island movie. There's also a resurrection poster. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, and we found, so when the whole plane is found underwater, at the beginning of the episode, we see like the footage of it. We see it's the whole plane. It's the whole fuselage. It's the whole everything. And it was
Yeah.
found off the coast of Bali. And so,
Yep.
yeah, this is not this.
In
This
a
is either like,
PlayStation 2 style cutscene, which actually
yep,
does look very cool. To be
it looks
honest,
it looks pretty
I
good.
liked it. I'm not even
Yeah,
talking about good or not, but it's got a cool vibe to it. So I
yeah,
mean, I guess that yeah, it's good. Yeah.
yeah. So we're butting up against like, okay, wait a minute, they found Oceanic Flight at 15. It doesn't seem to be the right pilot on there. What's going on? Like, is this a decoy thing that was planted here? Is this like an alternate timeline that like fell through a wormhole and like the Bermuda Triangle is like not out here, right?
Nope. That is the
Okay, that's like
Atlantic Ocean,
okay.
where the island of
Where the
Bermuda
Bermuda, that would make sense.
is
I
located.
th- I was fascinated with that as a kid. Like,
It does seem like one of those things that seems way more important when you're a kid
yeah,
than it turns out to
you
be.
find out that there's just like this mysterious triangle. Like it being a triangle is interesting. That
Yeah.
like it's just like kind of a no-go zone. There's storms all the time.
Yeah. And then you get a little older and find out that people go there all the time on
You
vacation.
maybe get to be 31 and realize that, for
Sure.
example. That's going to be it for the show today. If you like the show and want to hear more from the two of us, consider joining our Patreon. It's patreon.com/drskeleton. Every week, Ben and I release a bonus hangout show and get into the stuff that's just too cool, too hot for the main feed. Right into the show at drskeletonsartschool@gmail.com. Let us know what we missed in these episodes in the YouTube comments. We got folks who are excited for the upcoming Constant episode. Seems to be a fan favorite. Next week, we are watching season 4, episodes 3 and 4.